in such simple understanding. So simple, we kind of think like, I knew that. It doesn't have to be in complicated language and complicated references, that it's meant to go from heart to heart. And they teach us from the signs outside to understand the reality inside. That from the understandings of the circles of association, the circles of remembrance, and the way of purification, as a reminder for ourselves what I'm trying to accomplish by being inspired by the Divine to sit in the circles of remembrance. That I'm asking my Lord that let me to reach to your light, let me to reach to your satisfaction, begging your forgiveness at every moment and seeking your divinely satisfaction. And then the understanding of the world of light, to keep the company of enlightened people so that we may reach a state of enlightenment. And very simple understanding that even from traditional Sufi teachings, that Sayyidina Jalaluddin Rumi, Qaddasallahu Siru, with a lot of scholastic knowledge and exterior knowledge, was lacking a sense of the fruit and the essence of the reality. And came across in his life a master and a teacher by the name of Shams Tabriz, Qaddasallahu Siru. Again, for us, to make it very simple, Shams is the sun. And what we have to pull from that understanding is that the sun is a light, an eternal source of light. Because when we say light, we're talking like what, the fluorescent lights, but the Divine is saying, no, look outside in your creation. You see that sun? It's eternal. Constant fusion, a very clean energy, and eternal. No source of energy that we understand. The Divine has its reality, that it's taking from elements and bringing them in and creating a fire, tremendous fire. And as a result of that fire, emitting a tremendous light. That light, when we begin to understand and study the sun, it's a source of our breath, source of our food, source of our sight. It's a source of our life on this planet. No doubt the originator of the entire source is the Divine, but the Divine teaching that through means of creation you are existing. So one sign of your existence is that sun. Without that eternal light, you cannot exist, you cannot breathe, you cannot eat, you cannot see. So then for us is that we are asking to open the reality of that sun. And then the tariqahs come and begin to teach the sun, and the understanding of the sun is the reality of the heart. And how to open the reality of the heart. One reality, the understanding of the masters, and then the most important reality, the understanding of ourselves. Masters, their hearts are suns. Now, how they became a sun is in the understanding of the student. That we are trying to sit in the presence of a fire. And that fire is not like a regular fire, but coming with an eternal, divinely flame. So then the circles of zikr, the real circles with real servants of the Divine whose hearts are open. They have either a tremendous open heart, or they have merely within their heart a pilot light, and immediately can be ignited and begin to emit a flame. And the importance of that understanding is to understand that we come like a wet log, and These are the phases of the zikr, always by analogy because people don't understand themselves. So when you speak from analogy, we get more of an understanding. That when you come into the presence of a fire and you sit at the fire, the initial stages, many come as a wet log. They have so much on themselves, so many burdens on themselves, so many distractions within their being. It's like a wet log. And when you put the wet log near fire, it feels nothing. So many come and say, I didn't feel anything. Because they want us to understand, who knows himself will begin to know his Lord, will begin to know his path, will begin to know what they're trying to achieve. If I'm not feeling anything, I'm like a wet log. And I have lots of burdens and lots of difficulties, lots of things that making me in a state of, like, again, it's by analogy of a moisture, of a wetness. I'm distracted. I sit, I don't feel nothing. But doesn't mean nothing's happening. That fire is still burning. It's still trying to cook that log. But it's going through so many layers of moisture and burdens and difficulties, the log doesn't yet feel it's being cooked. So what they want at that stage, be persistent. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Because we have to know the objective is, I'm asking my Lord, I'm asking to burn in your divinely flame. Then you read all the poetries, because they begin to put all the pieces together. The poetries of the moth. How the moth is attracted to the fire. And they want us to be attracted to the divinely fire. And the moth doesn't think, it just sees a fire and its instinct, its divine instinct is to be lost. And you see like little flies and moths back home, they go straight into the fire. The divine is saying, with that ishq, with that love, you must approach me. If the outside sun you're in need of, I have, وَلَقَدْ كَرَمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ, I have honored mankind, honored beyond the sun and the moon. I have honored the creation of Adam and Eve, and I have blown of my spirit into them. They are more powerful than suns. So then they teach us by analogy, read about the sun. It's a source of fire. That many things are relying upon that sun. And divine saying, and you are more honored to me than that sun, the moons and all the heavens. Means that the potential in which you have within yourselves is unimaginable. So that I'm sitting, I'm asking, let me to burn. Let the badness to burn. Let all that is distracting me from your divine presence to perish. So many poetries from Jalaluddin Rumi about fire. Dance in the fire, seek the fire, let the fire burn all that's other than the fire. I mean, it burns your possessions away, it burns your desires away, it burns your bad characters away until you feel yourself one with the flame. And this is a description of divine ecstasy. What's burning is all that's other than the flame. So the concept of Jahannam, because everybody has to go through the flame. So Allah Azza wa Jal describes there's a very straight and narrow path. You have to walk on this. At some day, either while you're alive, you face the fire, or I'll catch you in the grave. Because the fire is my divinely love. You have to pass through that fire. If you're carrying anything from character, from dunya, from all that's other than love, it's going to be burned on that sirat al-mustaqim. Like anything else, if we are a light and we're a flame, we go into the flame and pass as if nothing. Because everything's burned already in the material world. All the desires burned, all the bad character burned, and it's continuously burning. Because these desires keep coming, but ashiqeen and the lovers of the reality, the flame is so strong, it immediately burns away again. The desires come and the flames burn. The possessions come, the flames burn. But divine teaching, if we don't do that, there is a sirat al-mustaqim, and every tradition has it, that you're going to pass through that fire and it burns everything other than divine love. People of Nabi Musa alayhi salam, they were seeking the promised land, they wouldn't let go of their gold. For 40 years he was teaching them, leave the gold, leave the desires, God will open for us a promised land. No, 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 40 years of teaching, finally Nabi Musa said, okay, let's go. They ran with so much gold they couldn't move. You know, that's why they couldn't escape Pharaoh. They came with all their gold and all their possessions, seeking the promised land. Until Pharaoh came upon them, tried to capture them by the water, the ocean parted and Allah saved them on the shores of mercy. But Allah had a plan. He told Nabi Musa, you go up and seclude yourself with me. I'm going to inspire them to take the gold and make a cow, and then I will burn it. So he collected all their gold and manifested their desires that this is what you like. Took all the gold that they wouldn't part with for 40 years, their desires and their material possessions, and Allah inspired them to make the cow, because that's really what you are wanting. So deep reality from Nabi Musa son, because they're all about the same reality, because he saw his Lord as a burning fire. That is the fire that they're telling us to sit. That the diya and the diya of Allah, the divinely fire of Allah, that when we're asking, Ya Rabbi, let me to sit at that fire and to sit with those whom you have put your fire within their hearts. Then you have to understand, we have to understand our stages. If I'm a wet log, I don't feel anything. And they're still burning, they're still cleaning, until the wet becomes a bit dry. After it becomes a bit dry, it begins to feel that when I go into the associations, into the zikr, and I'm living this life, I feel a burning. I feel difficulty and testings. I feel trials and tribulations. It means that log is now burning. It burns a lot faster the more you come, because you're near a source of flame. That flame is attracted to that wood and begins to burn it, begins to burn it, begins to burn it, until the wood begins to catch. Wood catches and burns and burns. At that point, many people will run. So you see them come and you see them go. Because the burning and the parting from their material desires, from their characteristics, whatever's on that wood, again this is an analogy, whatever's there that they thought they wanted to be burned away, when the real fires come and the real fire begins, many say, oh, it's a bit too hot, I'm taking off. And they may even talk bad about the fire on their way departing. It doesn't matter, because they will be caught in the grave and the burning will begin within the Qabb. Much easier to do while alive, much easier to do in a state of love. Like to understand my path that I'm asking, Ya Rabbi, let me to sit in those associations, let me to take a life in which these desires begin to burn and begin to burn and begin to burn, and then they remind us that in science you have 3 states of matter. When you come across these suns, and we study the suns have degrees of what suns are. These are again like the levels of the heart. You have a yellow sun, you have a red sun, you have a black hole in the center of the lata'ifs, then you have a white And they say the white sun, what they call a dwarf sun, then they have a pulsar sun, and then again a black hole. Is the degrees in which the suns, and each one billion times stronger than the other one. So even amongst the suns, these are darajats of suns. Most basic is the sun of our galaxy, because the galaxy is our body, our planets are our organs. Our qalb is where the shams should be, and the Divine is asking, ignite your heart so it becomes, this is the galaxy I gave you. As you see this outside galaxy, you have a galaxy within you. If you cannot manage your galaxy, how can I open my heavenly galaxy? How can I open the understanding of the heavenly universe if you can't manage your universe? So then they begin to teach us. Sit amongst them who are open-hearted, and they begin the burning process. By burning, that wood becomes like hay. From a sense of hay, it becomes almost like a liquid because it's burned so much. And they begin to teach us. These are the states of matter. That we are at a solid state when we first come. Very opinionated, very much into our desires and what we want and what we wish and what we think and what we know and what we have. That has to be burned. And they teach us in very basic science, I think 8th grade science, that if this matter is going to transform, you have to leave your solid state. So then you sit until you find your log becoming like liquid. It's burned, it's been tested, it sits in the flame. Literally, you go home heating up. Heating like you're on fire with fevers and colds and sicknesses over a lifetime, over a period of time, not just in one day, but constant. This is not only spiritual but physical. Testing in life, difficulties in life, then you begin to understand that this is the life of cleansing. Better to be cleansed now than again in the grave. Then that matter becomes like a liquid. Then they taught us in science, liquid is much easier to ignite than solid. So the hard part is done. So it means as the student is now moving closer to that reality, they're more like liquid. Their state is more easily ignitable to the next state, which is gaseous. To make a solid, a gas, very difficult. Solid has to be burned down, has to attend, has to do the zikr, has to do the chanting, has to accompany those lights and these suns. When it accompanies, it begins to burn, it finds its character becoming more liquid, translucent, flowing, less objective. You'll see the character change. Water, anything you pour it into, okay, a little bit of a struggle, but it goes in. Until more fire means as we're approaching the divine light, this was the light that Nabi Musa was teaching us. That when you're in a state of love and you're asking to meet your Lord and He comes to you with this flame, this is the flame of divinely presence, of divinely light. And it burns away everything other than that love. And you find yourself now becoming liquid. From liquid to gas is very fast. At that state, in a liquid state, when the student is reaching a liquid state, means their entire being quickly can ignite. And they become very sensitive to energy, very sensitive to the energy all around them. That they begin to look at the signs within the universe. Is that one sign is you begin to look at the physical sun and see the eruptions on the sun, and you begin to understand you're heating up every time you see the sun erupting. That your body changes based on what's happening in this dunya. Because Allah is just saying, you are just a piece of this entire fabric. Whatever's happening outside, it's a reflection of what's happening inside. And you begin to understand your subtle nature. You're moving from a physical, hard nature to a subtle, latif nature. The subtle nature is like gas. Immediately the liquid state ignites, and ethereal state, like an angelic state. Just a little bit of that light, and immediately the soul is moving free. And they teach, these are the states we're trying to reach. This is us. When the Shaykh sees that, and sees that you are reaching the ethereal state, that you are liquid, means your tarbiyah and your taslim is very strong. Because you're like liquid, whatever he puts you through, you endure. And you keep coming, you become like a gas. That immediately you're able to leave your physical confines and you're moving with the power of your soul. At that time they give permission to ignite you. When the student is ignited, means his eternal flame has been given by permission of Allah Azza wa Jal, permission of Prophet ﷺ, and permission from Awliya Allah, that the flame lit into the heart. That's an eternal gift given by Allah Azza wa Jal that cannot be taken away. Nobody can say, oh, maybe they made a mistake, maybe they didn't know what they're doing. That they go through so much difficulty for Allah Azza wa Jal to give that state. And what Allah Azza wa Jal gives, He never takes back, because He never made a mistake in the first place. We make mistakes, Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't make mistakes. It means the state of being lit. The Shaykh at that time says that you're at a gaseous state and you have endured all the understanding of these testings and these trials. Your pilot is lit. And the specialty in Naqshbandiyya is that when their pilot is lit and their lights are on, they have the ability to shut on and off instantly. So you may see them as very normal people, interacting in many different things, but when Allah Azza wa Jal wants them on, Prophet ﷺ wants them on, Mawlana Shaykh wants them on, immediately just their zikr, their state of hal ignites their entire being. They just pass their being through that fire and can ignite their entire soul. Their soul and the size of their soul is beyond understanding, beyond the size of this earth. The earth fits within the hand of their soul. It means the ability in which to ignite the soul once the student is lit, means the heart is lit. Once it's lit, Allah Azza wa Jal keeps sending the fire to make sure it continues to be clean. It means they can be cleaned by just sitting in bed and sleeping. Because Allah Azza wa Jal sends a tajalli onto a lit heart, means the pilot is lit. All the work was to get the pilot light lit. Once it's lit, the Divine sends any type of ignition into that heart, and immediately it goes into a state. It can go into a state while sleeping, while sitting, while watching TV, while eating dinner. Immediately an energy comes and the Divine begins a process of burning from within and begins to burn everything on the outside, constantly keeping those whom are lit to be purified and clean. These are the ones whom are mahfuz. They are guarded by the Divine. Because what He gives, He guards, He safeguards them. That if He finds too much calcification or incorrect growing upon them, merely ignites their heart and they go into a state of burning, and again all the burning and badness will begin to burn away. Because they have been reached and their internal being is reached. From the level of the sun, then they begin to open, not regular sun, they move now into the understanding of the red. And the red, when we begin to understand, these are huge, giant suns. That they even have a factory within themselves of what's happening. And again, the degrees of Awliya Allah are unimaginable. That it's not just one level, just for us to understand that when Mawlana Shaykh lights the heart or given permission for the heart to be lit, it's a tremendous reality. And because of that reality, they are capable of emitting a tremendous light. And then from the levels of the heart, you begin to understand the levels of suns. Just by studying the external knowledge of suns, the size difference, what's happening within these suns. From our little yellow sun to the big red suns, from the pulsar, which is such a powerful, massive sun that it even loses its mass and collapses within itself. This was the state in which Sayyidina Ali alayhi salam was saying, my annihilation within my annihilation. The sun is already a state of annihilation. It lost its physicality, annihilated itself in its divine reality. As a result of losing its mass, it's now just energy. What Einstein was trying to understand was that formula of how to reach energy. When they begin to lose the importance of their mass, then their energy is two lights. The two lights squared within them. Then as the degree of their sainthood is elevating, 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 then when we begin to study these white dwarfs and pulsars, they actually collapse within their reality. And they become so dense and so powerful, unimaginable, until the black. And the black, which is the state of complete annihilation, is the black hole. And the black hole means it collapses upon itself, but not only it collapses upon itself, anything that approaches it, it will annihilate it. These are the big saints. Their duty is merely just to bring everybody into that annihilation and throw them from fana back into baqa. Because once you're annihilated and destroyed in that presence, you will be resurrected in divinely presence. Because then these are the chain and the understanding of these saints. Each one above, much more powerful. Each one above with a completely different understanding and duty. But to reach to them and to understand that I'm asking to sit in their associations, I'm asking to burn. Then let the burning begin, and know that many people, as soon as it begins, they run. Because they can't take, you say, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. That is the cooking. Because they want to take us to a station of light. Inshallah, with more and more understanding, that Mawlana Shaykh open for us, and that Allah grant us an understanding, Prophet grant us an understanding of the magnificence and munificence of the divinely gift, وَلَقَدْ كَرَمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. That the state of light and the understanding of light is beyond imagination, beyond what we can even understand of what Allah, what the divine wanted to give to us, but in exchange what we're actually choosing. We are choosing the worst and the lowest of this creation, and not seeking the light, but seeking everything of the material world, and losing our state of light and our understanding of light. And every technology we have around us is based on energy and light, and we rely more on that technology than developing it for ourselves. And that's what Shaitan wants. Shaitan wants, the bad ego wants, is that you just play with the phone, believe in the phone, but don't ever think that you are more powerful than that phone. That your heart can move from here to the universe, to the heavens, 7 heavens, in a blink of an eye. Can send video, can send signals, can send audio. We pray that that understanding will begin to open more and more within our hearts, inshallah. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wassalamun ala al-mursaleen, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Bi hurmati Muhammadan Mustafa, wa bi siri Surah al-Fatiha.